Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen. My update videos are typically pretty short, but this one is going to end up being a touch more wordy, so I apologize in advance. This is because we have to go over the patch notes themselves, like numbers and whatnot, and then how the execution of them ended up playing out. If you want the TLDR, the new update is friggin' dope. The only problem so far has been a crash on the new mission at its final fight, and that sucked. Alright, that's enough with the intro. People don't really care about these anyway. Let's just get you into this. Most of you know about the basic content, but if you don't, here's the short order. A two-handed force sword is given to the Psyker, a two-handed power sword was given to the Zealot, a precision stubber is given to the Ogren, there is a new mission, and a new difficulty category known as Havoc. Those we will get into later. Everything else in the patch notes is down to important number changes that I'm going to get into now. First portion is changes pertaining to weapons and classes. The one-handed force sword for the Psyker has been given a new light attack for its Mark II variant. It has also received better weak spot damage on secondary light attacks. The Mark II and Mark V single-handed force swords have also received a minor increase in dodge efficiency. The Psyker as a whole received a base toughness increase from 60 to 75. The Zealot can now mantle or vault when using the chorus ability, as well as having a short delay to put it back so you don't accidentally double tap and waste it. The Ogren didn't get anything new statistic-wise, they just had their perk tree rearranged, so you might want to check that on yours before getting into a mission. We are now on to gameplay and enemy changes, and these get a little interesting. Dreg, Scab, and Reaper Gunners all have received an increase in damage fall-off, nearly double their previous ranges. Gunners have also had their stunning effect removed, but Scab Gunners have had their hit mass increased. If you don't know what hit mass is, it's the number deciding how dense enemies are, and therefore decides whether or not your attacks can punch through them. Reapers can no longer deal pushback effects. Both Dreg and Scab Gunners are now able to strafe. Scab Rager midsections have been upgraded from Flak to Carapace. Dreg Rangers have had their combos slightly slowed. Both Shotgunners have received an increased hit mass and have had their pushback removed. Personally speaking, the majority of these enemies feel better to fight now that they aren't shaking you like a baby in a tumble dryer. Now on to the mission section. There has been a reintroduction of 3 missions previously removed. I got here when they were in the removed portion of that cycle, so I know fuck all about shit regarding them. Rolling Steel had a surprising amount of new changes, and I find them all very welcome. If you're unaware, that is the train mission, as most people know it. The timer has been increased by 10% across all difficulties. There will be no backfill in the last 30 seconds of the emergency timer on the mission, and the bomb diffusers have been reworked to only require input for the last third of their bar. There is a fuckload of bug fixes. I'm not going over those. I will only be covering changes that directly affected gameplay. Okay, now with that out of the way, we can go to the cool stuff. The two-handed force sword is cool. I'm not going to pretend like it isn't. Why would I? Having a sword that can charge up and rip out an energy wave is dope as hell. I'm also aware that this isn't a melee-centric class by design, even though you can technically strong-arm it into that role. Unfortunately, I gotta put a little asterisk next to this sword being badass, because the charge up to fill both of the bars doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Now, filling up one bar, that works fine, but the simple reason being for 2 not making sense is because by the time you have charged up your 2 bars, you've murdered all of the things that the Force Slash is capable of killing. Now, sure, you could save it for the next batch, but she's gonna decay a bit before you get there, and you're not getting the 2 full bars of damage off. It's a very fun weapon to use. I just wish it would either charge faster, not have bar decay concerns, or make the force slashes hit like an NFL player who is dissatisfied in his relationship. I'm going to keep using this sword religiously. I just feel like it could use a little pep, especially when we compare to what the Zealot received. Keep in mind, most of that is in reference to looking at what the Zealot is swinging around right now. Also, you might want to prepare for your psychers going down in melee combat a lot for the immediate future, because, as I've said several times, this sword is still dope as fuck. This two-handed power sword goes harder than a horribly timed boner in the middle of math class. Sorry for the flashback that some of you just got. There's no which way about it. Somebody made this thing by sacrificing a shitload of virgins and fucking a ton of skulls. When you hit the charge button on this sword, a demon takes over your body and makes you want to do excessively dumb, reckless shit. Although that's pretty bar standard for literally every zealot ever, it's gonna be to a heightened degree, even more so than usual. I wouldn't worry too much about them going down like you will with the Psychers, but I would absolutely prepare for them to drag an entire horde on top of you and then disappear when they overheat their blade, as is, once again, pretty bar standard for zealots. The best you can hope is that they go full tilt on the bloodlust and just keep stabbing even when their weapon is overheated. The Ogryn's new stubber is exactly what it's meant to be. It hits like that pole Mark Wahlberg beat up an innocent old Korean man with. Seriously, go look it up. That's a real thing that happened. Anyway, comparatively speaking, it is incredibly accurate at long range, which is something that was really only afforded with hucking rocks before its introduction. The capacity isn't exactly stellar, but it switches from semi-automatic to firing at the speed of smell, so it doesn't exactly eat up ammo. I can see arguments both for and against this thing. I say give it a shot, figure out where you stand with it before someone who may not be a big fan of the thing distorts the view for you. I would advise testing it in comparison to the twin-linked stubber as well. The only comments I have about the new mission is that I find it very entertaining. It's cinematic as fuck, I don't want to spoil anything for you, and like I said, the first time I played it, I broke a shield and Darktide slam-dunked me clean out of the application. I hope you fare better than I did. Havoc mode is a touch confusing to begin with, but don't feel bad if you can't really understand it through text. I think the best way to understand it is just diving right in and embracing it. I would say if you can handle a normal level 4 mission, you can begin playing Havoc with no real problem. But I would also suggest that you have some people to accompany you, something that I will shamelessly plug the Discord linked in the description for. It's going to start out pretty easy, and as you complete consecutive missions, the difficulty will present itself. All of the rewards that you get apart from the experience will be deposited in a chest that opens at the end of the week. I don't know why they decided to go with financial edging as the play. Don't ask me, I don't have the answers, Batman. All I know is, your rank will increase with each consecutive mission, and at the end of the week, you get a reward crate along with a level update. All in all, I think this update played out pretty well. Oh, and welcome to the struggle, PlayStation users. You've had to deal with Sony for the longest time, so I'm sure facing insurmountable evil is nothing new to you. With all that being said, I believe that's a wrap. You guys have a good one, and good luck in Havoc mode.